Simgot has always been a brand that comes across to me with a lot of heart. Previously, I reviewed the EM2 Roshan from them and have noted that the build quality on them is honestly immaculate for the price point. So today, we take a look at their blitzing new offering, the EA500, which continues this line of good work. And of course, we start off with an unboxing. The EA500 comes in a very nice black box that, once again, for the love of all things nice, does not come with a waifu. No more +1 to the harem that I already have. It features a simple box with a rather nice Stranger Things-inspired 80s style artwork on the front. Honestly, rather classy. The back of the box, on the other hand, reveals one of the EA500 secrets. This earphone comes with 2 innate tunings. This, of course, is shown by the 2 curves that they openly reveal at the back of the box. This is done through the interchangeable nozzles that is provided. Sliding things out, Simgot has provided some sagely advice from Blessed Pascal. Don't try to add more years to your life. Better add more life to your years. Honestly, it's really good advice, so live life to your fullest, I guess. And below that are the earphones themselves. They are very pretty and extremely shiny. More on the build quality of this in a bit. The EA500 are made of metal that have an exquisite finish that should never really be considered for a product in its price. The earphones themselves look really premium. Being the magpie that I am, I think it's stunning. Well, honestly, just remember, a few years ago we have the Moondrop Arias that was just black and kind of boring. And although I did not experience this, others have reported that the finish on the Arias do kind of like flake off. And today we have the EA500 that is a true beauty. Under the earphones is a huge box housing ear tips. I would swap these out for a more premium ear tips for a better experience. Now, moving to the next box, it features a nice and handy hard case. Size of the hard case is honestly very usable, and inside it is the cable of the EA500. The cable is twisted and has silver plating that matches really well with the chassis of the EA500. It is a 2-pin cable terminated to a 3.5mm connection. Fittings on the cable are molded plastic, and in terms of usability, I have no complaints. Overall, usability on the cable is very good as it is rather supple and reduces microphonics by quite a bit. I just wish for the fittings on the cable to have a little bit more weight on them so that they can feel a little bit more planted rather than, it just like kind of want to move around so much, And beyond that is the secret of the EA500. This IM comes with 2 nozzles so that you can change into 2 different tunings, of which we'll go into a bit more detail. And lastly are the O-rings used to differentiate the 2 nozzles, so in case one of them you lose one of the O-rings, right, you can just replace them. Now, fit. The chassis of the EA500 is very comfortable. This is aided by the raised section of the chassis that allows you to place them in your ears without much obstruction. I think that they are a good weight for extended periods of use. Cable provided is also very manageable and does not allow for much microphonics. And next, before we move into sound quality, if you like the content so far, please kindly press the like and subscribe button. It really helps me out. Every time I see one of you guys pressing the like or subscribe button, really warms the cockles of my heart. Okay, with that said, let's go on into sonics. So the EA500 has 2 signatures in them provided by the different nozzles. Overall, I do think that the nozzles do provide enough of a difference for them to be different, but still share some tonal similarities. Technicalities between the 2 tunings remain rather similar and not too drastically different. The red O-ring nozzle here is more of a conventional Harman target, which plenty of IEMs try to emulate these days. It has a generally very agreeable tonality that has a slightly elevated upper mid-range, which is the innate character of the EA500. The black O-ring, on the other hand, has a slightly altered signature. I won't say that they differ too much from the red ring, but enough for it to be different. It has more of a V-shaped signature that again has elevated upper mid-range. So the thing is, I gave the EA500 some burn-in hours before starting on this review, and what I've noted is that the upper mid-range becomes a little bit smoother. And of course, we'll start with bass. Bass on the EA500 has a very beautiful slam, providing excellent texture as well. It is meaty without being considering a bass head IEM that does not really throw off the balance of the mid-range. It is honestly very well calibrated. It has a bit more weight in the mid-bass section, but sub-bass isn't a slouch either. Transients on the bass is quick and is paired with sweet resonance without making the IM sounding too dry. Bass drums has a good kick to them. And because of the way it renders bass, the EA500 is very suitable for a large category of genres, making this very versatile. It has enough speed to keep up with music that calls for that. Honestly, one of the best renderings of bass you can find in this price category. Midrange has a tinge of warmth that gives good body to vocals. Personally, I feel that the EA500's rendering of vocals can convey emotions well. Although, as I mentioned earlier, that it is more of a mid-bass prominent earphone, but it does not eat into the mid-range, ensuring separation to remain excellent. To me, it has a bit more emphasis on the upper mid, which creates a more defined outline for the overall mid-range picture, aiding in clarity. Some folks might need to take some time to get used to this energy. I do not find the EA500 to be congested sounding. Mid-range sounds spacious. And moving on to treble. Treble extension is actually excellent. It extends well and has an airy character. As such, it adds spaciousness to sound. Something quite premium in this cheapie segment of the market. Cymbals on the EA500 are rendered beautifully. There is a nice sizzle and bite, but the cymbals do not have too much irritating, lingering frequencies that can be fatiguing. A lot of thought has gone into the tuning to make them sound so classy sounding for the price. Soundstage. In terms of width and height, the Simgot EA500 does score pretty well in terms of width and height. I found imaging on the EA500 to be rather wide sounding with good levels of height as well. Depth and positioning is also very good for the price. You get intricate levels of separation which results in good depth in music. Positioning is also very precise from the articulate treble response. And of course, let's go into some comparisons. Now, firstly, versus the Truthear Hexa. Yes, I do compare the EA500 to the Truthear Hexa, which costs slightly more than the EA500. Now, the Hexa is a neutral IEM with a slight sub-bass bump, while the EA500 defaults to a neutral warm signature. The Hexa in this instance is more like plain water, while the EA500 is like a very nice cup of bubble tea. The EA500 is more exciting to listen to if you were to compare. You get more of a responsive bass response that is paired with nicely controlled treble to give you an overall good texture to the music. Soundstage wise, I also prefer the EA500's rendering as its more dynamic nature lends to a more realistic presentation of Soundstage. The Hexa by its nature is a little bit more compressed sounding. Now between the two, the EA500 is more enjoyable while the Hexa has a more controlled presentation. And next, of course, we need to move to the OG in this price point, the Moondrop Arias. Now I know the Arias have been around for some time, but the EA500 does remind me of an upgrade to the Moondrop Arias, but with a bit more mid-high energy. I much prefer the build quality on the EA500 over the Arias, which kind of feels like a potato today. I did not experience the paint peeling that some owners experience on the Arias. The EA500 just feels much more solid. The paired cable is also light years more manageable from the crow's nest that the Aria stock cable is. Sonically, I found that the EA500 has more mid-high energy than the Arias, but technically, I feel that the EA500 has better separation compared to the Arias. And finally, in conclusion, I really feel that the EA500 is a gem of an IEM, truly capable of taking the mantle from the Moondrop Aria that came before it. It does so with a bit more mid-high energy with build quality that is beyond its price point. Chassis is a beautiful mirror finish that can put more expensive IEMs to shame. If you're looking for an all-purpose IEM that can deliver on most genres of music, you really need to look no further, as I think the EA500 can do just that. And with that said, thank you guys for watching this Super Chunk Super Audio Show. If you like the content so far, please kindly press the like and subscribe button right here down below. Every single like and subscribe really does mean a lot to me and keeps me inspired to do more. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye now.